The luxurious Villa Leopolda. The big standalone villa known as Villa La Leopolda may be found in Villefranche-sur-Mer, which is located in the Alpes-Maritimes region on the French Riviera. The grounds of the villa contain 7.3 hectares, which is equivalent to 18 acres. Throughout its history, the villa has been owned by several important individuals, such as Gianni and Marella Agnelli, Isaac and Dorothy J. Killam, and since 1987, Edmund 1932 to 1999 and Lely Safra 1934-2022, who was able to inherit the villa following the passing of her husband. On an estate that was formerly owned by King Leopold II of Belgium, the American architect Ogden Codman Jr. was responsible for the design and construction of the current version of Villa La Leopolda, which was completed between the years 1929 and 1931. The previous estate was a gift that Leopold had given to his mistress Blanche Azalea Josephine de la Croix, who was also known as Caroline La Croix. The name of the estate comes from him. Following the passing of Leopold, Blanche de la Croix was forced out of the property and King Albert I, Leopold's nephew, became the new owner. It served as a military hospital during World War I and is still in use today. The property was purchased by Thérèse Vitali, Comtesse de Beauchamp, in 1919, and she subsequently commissioned renovations to be made. The year 1929 marked the beginning of Ogden Codman Jr.'s architectural masterpiece, which he began by purchasing the dozen existing structures that comprised the land. These structures included 2 little cottages for peasants. In the year 1931, it was finished. However, due to his financial issues and his extravagant spending, he was unable to reside in it. As a result, he rented it out to several wealthy tenants. One well-known English couple attempted to lease it, but they insisted on making modifications that went against Codman's aesthetic goals and a stringent list of protective provisions. But they were unsuccessful. The numerous limits that Codman imposed caused the negotiations that were taking place in a room at a hotel in Paris to fail, and Ogden's answer was, "I regret that the House of Codman is unable to do business with the House of Windsor." Codman's elaborate ideas and construction gave the estate, which was formerly a collection of structures that were not tied to one another, its current appearance. Through the combination of his neo-Palladian vision and his in-depth understanding of historical precedent, he was able to design a magnificent villa that had large gardens and landscaping. The holdings of the Society for the Preservation of New England Antiquities, often known as Historic New England, still contain items such as floor plans, letters, records, and stereoglass plate views of the just-finished home. Following Codman's passing in 1951, the estate was sold to Isaac Walton Killam, whose widow subsequently acquired the property after her husband's passing. Later on in the 1950s, she sold it to Gianni Agnelli, who was the president of Fiat from 1921 until 2003, and his wife, Marella Agnelli. Dorothy J. Killam, a Canadian philanthropist, purchased the Villa Leopolda from the Agnellis in 1963. She lived there until she died in 1965. The Agnellis sold the villa to Killam, Theresa Safra and Edmund Safra. In the year 1987, the Brazilian banker Edmund Safra, who was born in Lebanon, and his wife Lily acquired La Leopolda as one of their properties. The Safras contracted Renzo Mongiardino to serve as their interior designer, while Mika Ertegun was responsible for the decoration of the bedrooms located on the second level. An enamel box containing a depiction of the estate Leopolda was presented to female guests at a party that the Safras hosted in 1988. The Safras were known for throwing spectacular parties at the estate. Because Safra had such a large number of people on her guest list, she decided to throw 2 parties, one on Saturday and another on Monday. Some tulips were airlifted in from Holland. The food was arranged by the famous chef Roger Verby of the Moulin de Mougins, and the music was provided by Safra's favorite musicians, including the Brazilian bandleader Sergio Mendes, who had flown in from California with his entire orchestra, and the pianist David Wood, who had flown in from the United Kingdom with his quartet. The novelist John Fairchild referred to the party as the ultimate in conspicuous consumption in his description of the event. In his memoir titled Red Notice, which was published in 2014, the banker Bill Broder related the story of his trip to Safra at the Villa Leopolda with Benny Steinmetz. A group of former Israeli commando troops were given the responsibility of providing Safra with security at the villa. The Safras resided in a penthouse apartment in Monaco, which was approximately 8 kilometers away from the Villa Leopolda. Mikhail Prokhorov, a Russian billionaire businessman, made multiple attempts to purchase the estate Leopolda from Safra through Ignace Muisin. In the summer of 2008, she finally agreed to purchase the estate from him for a price of 370 million euros, which included an additional 19.5 million euros for the home's furniture. A fellow Russian tycoon named Roman Abramovich was incorrectly listed as the buyer in the initial reports that were published in July 2008 regarding the sale of the villa. After being detained by French authorities in 2007 for allegedly providing prostitutes for guests at Courchevel, a ski resort in the French Alps, Prokhorov would later deny that he had purchased the property. His spokeswoman stated that he had declined to conduct business in France after his detention. Regarding the matter of Prokhorov's prostitution, there were never any charges brought against him. A lawsuit was filed between Prokhorov and Safra regarding the €39 million deposit that he had placed on the villa. This case was brought about as a result of Prokhorov's attempt to withdraw from the sale in the aftermath of the financial crisis that occurred in 2008. In November 2012, a French court issued a ruling that was against Prokhorov. Subsequently, Safra announced that she would distribute his deposit to several different charities all around the world. Monuments of architecture. The aesthetic of the Belle Epoque is evoked in the work of Villa Leopolda. This structure is included in the general inventory of architectural heritage that is maintained by the region of Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. The culture of the masses. In the film The Red Shoes, which was released in 1948, the villa served as the setting for Lermontov's residence. The protagonist, under the impression that she has been invited to supper, ascends the stairs leading to the villa. She will be awarded the leading role in the new ballet instead of the other way around. For his film To Catch a Thief, which was released in 1955, Alfred Hitchcock utilized La Leopolda as a setting. It has been stated in a different reference that the residence that was utilized in the film To Catch a Thief is not Villa Leopolda, but rather Château de la Croix des Gardes, which is located at 145 Boulevard Leader. Villa La Leopolda is recognized as a French monument historique by the French government. La Leopolda served as the location for the villa that the main character, Lermontov, inhabited in the film The Red Shoes, which was released in 1948. As she makes her way up the stairs leading to the villa, the protagonist with the fiery hair believes that she has been invited to dinner. As an alternative, she was awarded the leading role in a brand new ballet. To Catch a Thief was a film directed by Alfred Hitchcock and released in 1955. The film was set at La Leopolda. This romantic thriller, which stars Cary Grant and Grace Kelly, tells the story of a retired cat burglar who makes an effort to rehabilitate his character by capturing a jewel thief who preys on naive tourists who are vacationing on the French Riviera. A visit to Edmond Safra at the Villa Leopolda was described by the banker and financier Bill Browder in his memoir Red Notice, which was published in 2014. Benny Steinmetz, a billionaire, was also present during the visit. A deposit of €39 million was made by Michael Prokhorov. Michael Prokhorov, a Russian billionaire businessman, made multiple attempts to purchase the estate Leopolda from Safra through Ignace Muisin. In the summer of 2008, she finally agreed to purchase the estate from him for a price of €370 million, which included an additional €19.5 million for the home's furniture. A fellow Russian tycoon named Roman Abramovich was incorrectly listed as the buyer in the initial reports that were published in July 2008 regarding the sale of the villa. After being detained by French authorities in 2007 for allegedly providing prostitutes for guests at Courchevel, a ski resort in the French Alps, Prokhorov would later deny that he had purchased the property. His spokeswoman stated that he had declined to conduct business in France after his detention. Regarding the matter of Prokhorov's prostitution, there were never any charges brought against him. A lawsuit was filed between Prokhorov and Safra regarding the €39 million deposit that he had placed on the villa. This case was brought about as a result of Prokhorov's attempt to withdraw from the sale in the aftermath of the financial crisis that